How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022, otherwise known as Tuesday. And of course, before I get into that, I'm going to, of course, zoom out and take a look at where we are in the calendar year. Now that Super Bowl 56 has, of course, has been completed and the LA Rams are the champions of the NFL, we are still in the second half of the college and the professional basketball seasons. In college basketball, most seasons are pretty much coming down to their ends as we are getting ready for conference championships. And of course, the NBA is coming out of the playoff weekend as teams are now getting to start to compete and sort themselves out for the playoffs. Not to mention that in soccer, we just got through some more first leg matchups of the round of 16 in Champions League as we are entering yet another round of international or at least really competitive continental soccer. So with that said, I'm going to start off with college basketball, looking at the games from yesterday. The top team that played yesterday was the 5th ranked team in the nation, and the Kansas Jayhawks hosted the unranked Kansas State Wildcats. Kansas would beat Kansas State 102-83. The Jayhawks won by 19 after outscoring Kansas State by 10 in the first half and by 9 in the second. On the winning end of this matchup, the 5th ranked Kansas Jayhawks were led in scoring by their starting guard, Ochai Agbaji. He finished with 23 points. He would also finish with 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 turnovers in 35 minutes. He shot 9 for 13 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt on the night. Their starting guard, Christian Brown, finished with 20 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals in 34 minutes. He shot 8 for 12 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, and he shot 1 for 2 from the foul line. With this win, the 5th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks are now 23-4. They are now 12-2 in the Big 12. That is the best record in the conference. They are the only team in the conference that has less than 4 losses at the moment. And then, of course, with this loss, the unranked Kansas State Wildcats are now 14-13. They are now 6-9 in their conference. At the moment, Kansas has 4 more games left in their schedule as they are trying to seal the best record in their conference. Now taking a look at the 8th ranked team in the nation, the Villanova Wildcats will go to Connecticut to face off against the 21st ranked UConn Huskies. UConn would beat Villanova in this ranked matchup as UConn won this game by 2. They outscored Villanova by 1 in both halves. On the losing end of this matchup, the 8th ranked Villanova Wildcats were led in scoring by their starting guard Colin Gillespie. He would finish with 17 points and 5 turnovers in 34 minutes. He shot 4 for 9 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and 7 for 8 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the 21st ranked UConn Huskies were led in scoring by their starting forward, Adama Sanogo. He finished with 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 33 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field and 4 for 5 from the foul line. With this win, the 21st ranked UConn Huskies are now 20-7. They are 11-5 in the Big East. That is the 3rd best record in the conference as they sit behind Providence and Villanova still. With this loss, Villanova is now 21-7 as they are 14-4 in the Big East Conference. The only team in their conference with a better record than Villanova is Providence following this loss. Now looking at the 9th ranked team in the nation, the Texas Tech Red Raiders hosted the unranked Oklahoma Sooners. Texas Tech would beat Oklahoma 66-42. They won this matchup by 24 after they outscored Oklahoma by 7 in the first half and by 17 in the second half. On the winning end of this matchup, the 9th ranked Red Raiders were led in scoring by their starting guard, Davion Warren. He finished with 16 points and 3 steals. He would do all this in 26 minutes. He shot 7 for 9 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and he would go on to make one of his 3 free throw attempts on the night. With this win, the 9th-ranked Texas Tech Red Raiders are 22-6. They are 11-4 in the Big 12. They are tied with Baylor, the defending national champs, for the second-best record in the Big 12 as they sit behind two-loss Kansas at the moment. With this loss, the unranked Oklahoma Sooners are 14-14. They are now 4-11 in the Big 12. That is the second-worst record in the conference. The only team in their conference that they have a better record than is West Virginia for right now. Looking at the 17th ranked team in the nation, the Tennessee Volunteers would go to Mizzou to face off against the unranked Tigers. Tennessee beat Missouri 80-61. They won by 19 after outscoring the Tigers by 9 in the first half and by 10 in the second half, all in front of the Missouri fans. On the winning end of this matchup, the 17th ranked Volunteers were led in scoring by their starting guard, Kennedy Chandler. He finished with 23 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 37 minutes. He shot 9 for 12 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and with this win, the 17th ranked Tennessee Volunteers are now 20-7. They are 11-4 in the SEC. They are tied with Arkansas for the third best record in the conference at the moment, as they are one of 3 teams that have 11 wins so far. With this loss, the unranked Missouri Tigers are now 10-18. They are 4-11 in the SEC. The only team with the worst record than them in the conference is Georgia. Looking at the 18th ranked team in the nation, staying within the SEC, the Arkansas Razorbacks would go to Florida, face off against the Gators. Arkansas would beat Florida 82-74. They won by 8 after outscoring the Gators by 5 in the second half. On the winning end of this matchup, the 18th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks were led by their starting guard in scoring, J.D. Notae. He finished with 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 39 minutes. He shot 7 for 18 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and 6 for 7 from the foul line. With this win, the 18th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks are now 22-6. They are 11-4 in the SEC as they are tied with Tennessee for the third best record in the conference behind Auburn and Kentucky. With this loss, the unranked Florida Gators are 17-11. They are now 7-8 in the SEC for the time being. Jumping out to Nashville, the unranked Vanderbilt Commodores hosted the 24th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama beat Vanderbilt by 2. They won 74-72 after they outscored Vanderbilt they won by 2 after they outscored Vanderbilt by 7 in the second half. On the winning end of this matchup, the 24th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide would be led in scoring by their guard off the bench, Javon Quinterly. He finished with 19 points, all in 27 minutes, as he shot 6 for 12 from the field, a perfect 3 for 3 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. With this win, the 24th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide are 18-10. They are now 8-7 in the SEC. That is the 5th best record in the conference, as at the moment they are one of 4 teams in the SEC that have 7 losses. With this loss, the unranked Vanderbilt Commodores are now 14-13. They are 6-9 in the SEC for the time being. Last but not least, looking at the 25th ranked team in the nation, the Iowa Hawkeyes hosted the unranked Michigan State Spartans yesterday. Iowa beat Michigan State 86-60. They won by 26 after outscoring Michigan State by 14 in the first half and by 12 in the second. On the winning end of this matchup, the 25th ranked Iowa Hawkeyes would be led in scoring by their starting forward, Keegan Murray. He finished with 28 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals in 30 minutes. He would go on to shoot 10 for 15 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and he shot 6 for 7 from the foul line. With this win, the 25th ranked Iowa Hawkeyes are now 19-8. They are 9-7 in the Big Ten. They are now tied with Michigan State for the 6th best record in the conference, as they still have yet to win a double-digit amount of games in 6 out of 16 played so far. With this loss, the unranked Michigan State Spartans are 18-9. They are now 9-7 in the Big Ten as well, tied with Iowa for the sixth best record in the Big Ten, as there are 5 teams ahead of them that have won a double-digit amount of Big Ten games so far. So that is what college basketball is looking like following yesterday's matchups. Taking a look at what's going on today, starting of course with the 7 o'clock games on ESPN. My alma mater, the Duke Blue Devils, the 7th ranked team in the nation, are going to go face off against the unranked Virginia Cavaliers in the John Paul Jones Arena in Charlottesville, Virginia. Duke enters this matchup with a 13-3 record in the ACC, as they are still the only ranked team in the ACC. At the same time, at 7 on CBS Sports Network, the 11th ranked Providence Friars are going to host unranked Xavier in the Dunkin' Donuts Center. Providence enters this matchup with a 12-2 record in the Big East, the best record in their conference right now. At the same time, at 7, the 20th ranked Texas Longhorns are going to host the unranked TCU Horned Frogs on ESPN2 in the Frank Erwin Center. Texas enters this matchup with an 8-6 record in the Big 12. At 8 o'clock, the 14th ranked Houston Cougars are going to go to New Orleans to face off against unranked Tulane. Houston enters this matchup with an 11-2 record in the American Conference. At 8:30, the 3rd ranked Auburn Tigers are going to host the unranked Ole Miss Rebels on SEC Network. Auburn enters this matchup with a 12-2 record in the SEC, which is the best record in the SEC for right now. Looking at the team with the 2nd best record in the SEC, the 6th ranked Kentucky Wildcats are going to host the unranked LSU Tigers in Rupp Arena on ESPN. Kentucky enters this matchup with an 11-3 record in the conference. And last but not least, at 9 o'clock at the same time, the 13th ranked Wisconsin Badgers are going to go to Minneapolis to face off against the unranked Minnesota Golden Gophers. Wisconsin enters this matchup with a 12-4 record in the Big Ten. Taking a look at what's going on in the NBA at the professional level, the NBA will not pick up until tomorrow, as the NBA is, of course, still reeling from the All-Star weekend, as teams are going to make their second half push towards the playoffs starting tomorrow. Taking a look at what's going on in the world of soccer, yesterday was the 3rd day of first leg matchups for the round of 16 for Champions League. Looking at the matchups that took place, starting with the reigning Champions League winners, the Chelsea Football Club, who came into this matchup with the 3rd best record in the Premier League at the moment, would face off against Lille, the reigning French champion, who comes into this matchup with the 10th best record with the 11th best record in Ligue 1. Chelsea came into this matchup, of course, after finishing second in Group H to Juventus, and LOSC Lille would finish at the top of Group G right over RB Salzburg. In this first leg matchup, Chelsea would host Lille because they were second in their group, and Chelsea would end up beating Lille 2-0 to take that first leg advantage, as their goals came from Kai Havertz, their elite German center attacking mid, in the 8th minute. Their second goal will come from Christian Pulisic, their American forward, in the 63rd minute. Going into the second leg, which will be held at Lille, Chelsea holds a 2-0 aggregate lead. And the other matchup ended in a 1-1 draw, as Villarreal, the reigning Europa League champs and the team that finished as runners-up in Group F to Man United, hosted Juventus, who, of course, comes into this matchup holding the 4th best record in Serie A at the moment. And Villarreal and Juventus would end up drawing at 1. The first goal of this matchup would come from Juventus's new Serbian forward, Dusan Vlahovic, as he would score in the very first minute of his Champions League debut. Villarreal, however, would tie the game in the 66th minute with a goal from Dani Parejo. And now going into their second leg, which will be held in Turin, Italy, because Juventus will be hosting it. This matchup will be held at a 1-1 aggregate, as the next game that will be taking place between these two will be taking place on March 16th, as Juventus Villarreal and LOSC Lille Chelsea should be the last 2 matchups of the round of 16. Taking a look at what's going on today, as there are still first leg matchups to be taking place. Starting first with the Champions League, looking at the last teams that still have yet to play in this round, Atletico Madrid is going to host Manchester United. Atletico Madrid, of course, enters this matchup after finishing finishing second in their group to Liverpool, who won all their games. Manchester United enters this round after winning Group F over the reigning Europa League champs Villarreal. And taking a look at where they are sitting this season, Atletico Madrid is going to enter this upcoming Champions League home match holding the fifth best record in all of Spain, as they sit even with Barcelona, but Barcelona has a better goal differential at the moment. Manchester United, however, enters this game with the fourth best record in England, as they are sitting 4 points behind Chelsea and 4 points ahead of fifth place West Ham, to get a sense of where Man U is sitting. The other matchup that's going to be taking place will be between Benfica and Ajax Amsterdam. Benfica comes into this matchup after being one of the top teams in Portugal. Right now, they are sitting third in all of Portugal at the moment. Benfica would, of course, enter this round after they finished second to Bayern Munich, when Bayern Munich won that table, completely swept them. Ajax Amsterdam comes into this matchup as the best team in the Netherlands at the moment, and then Ajax was able to win their group after winning every single game in their group stage, finishing over second place Sporting, and this was also the group where Dortmund would get relegated to Europa League. So that's what I have for Champions League, is after all these matchups, there are still 8 games left to determine which 8 teams will advance to the quarterfinal. Jumping now to the English Premier League for the moment, because we are about to enter yet another week of that league. Up at 2:30, Tottenham Hotspur is going to go face off against Burnley. Tottenham Hotspur enters this matchup with the 8th best record in the Premier League. A win could temporarily jump them ahead of 7th place Wolves, as they've played one less game than Wolves, as they're going to face off against Burnley. Burnley enters this matchup tied with Norwich City for the second worst record in the Premier League, with 3 less games played than Norwich City. Liverpool is going to host Leeds United at 2:45, as Liverpool holds on to the second best record in the Prem. With a win here, they can move to within 3 points of first place Man City, as Leeds United holds on to the 15th best record out of 20 in England. And that's virtually everything that I have regarding today's matchups, as we are slowly navigating through the world of sports one day at a time. I want to thank the ESPN, NCAA, NBA, and FIFA websites for giving me all the facts and figures that I need. And once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are done, I'm going to come back tomorrow on Thursday, February 24th, for another episode of The Elite. And until then, I want to thank everyone for listening, and I hope all is well. I'll catch you with another episode tomorrow. Peace out.